Now, obviously, at the moment, we're conducting this interview right now against a background of deep government problems, financial problems and economic problems within the country. Arguably the country's on the mend a little bit, but government finances certainly seem to be deteriorating rather than improving. One of the things the English Democrats manifesto calls for is smaller government. Question you're going to get asked many times is, where do the cuts come? How do you get smaller government? How do you cut expense out of central?
It's a very simple question. I don't think anybody's under any illusion that the government spends its money, or our money, wisely. You know, most cases it seems they either overspend by double, treble, sometimes quadruple. So I think, you know, just on that logic alone, you could have, say, a government 30% of GDP or less without actually losing anything whatsoever.
There was also one interesting thing that caught my eye in the manifesto, and that there's some talk about strategic industries and golden shares. I don't know if you've read that particular section of the manifesto. It just sounded a little bit Labour government 1974, Harold Wilson's time.
Yeah, well, I mean, for sure. I mean, that's probably a little clause that's tucked away. I don't recall seeing that, and I've actually read that manifesto many times over. So it sounds like government interference, and you know, whoever put that in must realise if you touch something, you know, if the government touches something and favours one group over another, you immediately throw the exact amount of people out of work in a hidden group that you don't see.
Now, just turning to crime and law and order, there's again a section, I'm just quoting from the manifesto. The English Democrats respect the right of, I'm sorry, I'll try again. The English Democrats respect the right of victims of crime to defend themselves and their property against crime. That sounds a little bit like a carte blanche for vigilantism.
Well, I can speak from personal experience there, because last year in the summer I caught 5 yobs breaking into my neighbour's house. I chased them off. I had a bit of a ruckus with them there, chased them off, and then 3 more, including the father, came round the corner, and I was hospitalised with 8 of them fights. I mean, it was only thanks to someone sitting in a car, a fairly big guy who came out and you know, weighed the balance, and I got out of there. I was very, very lucky. It was an impetuous thing to do, but at the same time, I would chase people off of my property who shouldn't be there, and I think they should actually be rewarded if there was more of that kind of thing, because obviously the government, it doesn't want you to defend yourself. It wants you to sit there waiting for the police to arrive, who aren't going to do anything, and then you have to sit there and you can do nothing without the government being there. It throws people into the hands of government. Well, we all know what should happen. Those people should get a thick ear, a thump on the nose, and a kick up the backside, and they wouldn't do it again. If it had been done earlier, you know, we wouldn't even be in this situation. But the government doesn't need a secret service or a secret police force. It can scare people to death just by letting yobs run riot on the streets, and that's what we're going to stop. They will come up very shortly.
There were the police going past as
yes.
you answered that question. Yes, 8 months late.
Yes.
Defence. If England separates from the rest of the countries of the United Kingdom, who gets the nuclear deterrent?
Well, it's a question we'll have to decide amongst ourselves, but I suppose wherever they are at the moment, you don't really want to be moving them around and creating new bases. I don't see the defence of the Isles as something that we have to separate out, but it's a huge part of the budget, so we have to be very, very careful. It's one of the 3 areas that I think government should be involved in, which is defending our shores, not fighting wars that are going to last for centuries. You know, this isn't the Crusades. We should be out of those wars. We should never have gone. We should just come home. You know, we're just trying to save face at the moment, and there needs to be some agreement about who gets what in the way of the nuclear arsenal. Frankly, I'm somebody who wants to see all of those nuclear weapons dismantled across the world, and I don't like nuclear power for that very reason either, where you get nuclear power, which is basically steam power. It's not actually modern technology. It's a steam turbine being driven by the heat you get from a nuclear process. It sounds like, I don't know, putting the ultimate Apple computer and finding out that it's still got an old reel-to-reel tape recorder tucked underneath it somewhere. It's crazy, but I think that's one of the easiest problems to do. Is knowing where to put those strategically. You know, should we be in a position where other countries don't want to give up their nuclear?
Now, you touched there on messy foreign wars that you said could last for years and years and years. We're obviously currently have troops deployed in Afghanistan, out of Iraq now, fortunately, but deployed in Afghanistan as part of a NATO team. Now, policy of the English Democrats is to remain within NATO. How would we balance our commitments to NATO with individual conflicts where NATO has been committed? For example, in Afghanistan.
Well, personally, I'd take us out of NATO, because all of those those joint ventures are only there for one thing, and that's to be tyrannical to countries who we don't think conform to our ideas and how they should be. It's not part of freedom, it's not part of liberty, and it should go. We should all be sitting there, coming to each other's aid should we be attacked. That should be the start of it, and that's my personal view, and it's something that I would probably work with other people in the party to get them to come around to that view. Sorry, did I answer the full part of your question, the rest of the question?
You did, actually. Well, there's a follow-up to that, which is that if by some miracle there was an English Democrat majority on May the 6th, if the election happens on May the 6th, what would your first actions be in terms of our entanglements in Afghanistan? What would you seek to do as a party and as a government?
We would come out straight away. It's literally as quick as we possibly can. And I know people say, well, you're just going to leave a bloodbath. They said that about what would happen in Vietnam with the North Vietnamese. There wasn't. They said that when in Cambodia, when the other troops. And there was some retribution, but basically it didn't happen. It's just scaremongering. Those people know how to sort it out. We're the ones who caused all of the trouble that's over there, unleashing all of that tension that was actually built up against us over many years, going back to the 50s even. And that's what once we're out of the way, those people will negotiate their own peace very quickly. They've lived together for many years. Look, they're not fighting each other like it was with Saddam Hussein fighting Iran. He was the agitator in the region. He's gone. Those guys know what they're doing. They know what they want between them far better than we do. We're the ones over there attacking them. They're not over here attacking us.